Hey random people, it's me, coming at you with a new infomercial that is like 10 minutes long, but hear me out. I have this pretty neat country that consists of 115 islands called Seychelles. Seychelles hasn't been a country for that long, only being explored in 1502 by Portugal's Vasco da Gama. Later, in 1608, the English East India Company got lost in a storm while sailing to India. They enjoyed all the luxuries of the island and reported what they found, but Britain wasn't all that interested and never took action. It was later inhabited by French planters and their slaves in 1768. Because of the French Revolution, the settlers in Seychelles in 1790 decided, hey, we could probably just, run ourselves? Which everyone there liked, so they kept it. Slaves were still slaves, because they also deemed that abolition of slavery, the colony will fall to pieces. An ongoing theme of no one caring about Seychelles happens until Britain gets really worked up about how slavery is still happening in Seychelles. Well, that slave trading was still happening. Slave owning was still legal at the time. Eventually, in 1835, slavery was abolished, so no one could force people to work for free. By this time, the soil has been all used up and most of the slave owners left. The economy was a mess. The free slaves didn't really know what to do with themselves since the land wasn't technically theirs. After the planters realized they can grow coconuts, Seychelles' economy started to grow again. In 1841, Victoria, Seychelles' capital, grew and prospered. It was not until 1979 that Seychelles gained independence from the UK, but here we are now. Seychelles has a republic, aptly named Republic of Seychelles. It gained independence from the UK on June 29, 1976. Seychelles Independence Day has the same timestamp of June 29th, and it also has a Constitution Day of June 18th, originally in 1995. Its legal system is a mixture of English common law, French common law, and customary law. Like the United States, you can vote at 18, and there's an executive, legislative, and judicial branch. Seychelles also lets their people vote on who they want, so that's good. Citizenship is done by descent, so no one outside Seychelles can become a citizen, unless you go through naturalization for 5 years. But that doesn't mean you can't visit. Most religions found in Seychelles branch off of Christianity, those being Roman Catholic, Protestant, Anglican, Pentecostal Assembly, Seventh-day Adventist, and other Christians and Protestants. There are very few Hindu, Muslim, and other non-Christian religions. Don't expect to have to do anything special when you come over. Freedom of religion is a right that you and others have on the island. When visiting, one fact to keep in mind is etiquette. Everyone is laid back. Simple greetings, like a wave, will suffice. Nothing fancy. Dress codes have the same attitude, easygoing, and formal clothing is not worn often. Personal space is moderately larger than that of Europe. Refrain from giving compliments, especially to children. They believe compliments bring misfortune. Speaking of children, babies sleep with their parents and toddlers are watched by their older siblings, but are freer than their baby counterparts. Kids are given little tasks earlier in their life, which progress into harder ones later. Education is open to everyone, but if a person wants higher education, they have to travel overseas. Another note to keep in mind is that a huge carnival is celebrated in the span of 3 days called the Carnival of Victoria. It celebrates the mixing of all the different cultures on the island. This festival is celebrated in a different date each year, but watch out for it whenever you start planning. A new moneymaker in Seychelles, because of its independence in 1979, is tourism. However, there are complications. Tourism itself can't sustain the economy because of its faraway location and little preserved spots for tourists on the island itself. Instead, most money is made by farming and fishing, as it has been in the past. Coconuts, bananas, tea, cinnamon, vanilla, cloves, patchouli, and sweet potatoes are crops of the island. Alongside the abundant farming choices, there are 1,000 fish species in the Seychelles area, many of them being catchable. Minors of 15 years of age are allowed to give consent for sexual intercourse without their parents' permission. However, said minors cannot obtain contraceptives, which are birth control, without their parents' permission. This backwards logic has led the count of single women under the age of 20 with children to skyrocket. It is a problem because it causes a loop of low-paying jobs and poverty for these women. The wonky education system gives young Seychelles a hard time to get into the present job market and its educational demands. Seychelles are being educated in certain areas and not enough in languages and math. Being a laid-back nation has its flaws. The productivity in Seychelles is very low. Employees arrive late at work and leave early. Some of the time it's for personal matters, like health for themselves or their children, or attending private occasions like funerals, but it's taking up most of their time. Unemployment is still an issue that the Seychelles are going through. More job opportunities need to be taken up that are not doing so. The lack of interest, training/qualifications, education, and unappealing jobs are some reasons why unemployment is so high. Girls are very slowly hopping up the ranks, but not fast enough. Girls are still lower on the scale than boys. A peculiar issue has come up. Boys are underperforming in almost all subjects on almost every level of education. There is a lack of concern in parents when boys fail, which has led to underperformance. Many delicacies were brought to Seychelles from African, Chinese, and Indian merchants. Some of these dishes include kairos masala, based on the word curry, is blended vegetable, meat or fish, and masala, which is a blend of different spices. Chutney Seychelles is crushed peppers, ginger, and garlic. Pulao is rice cooked with fish, meat, or vegetables. Rosettes are cooked fruit bats. Shark chuntly is boiled and mashed shark meat that is cooked with the small cucumber called balimbi and lime juice. Fried onion, turmeric, and salt and pepper are added. It is usually served with lentils and shredded green papaya with rice. Ladab can be prepared as a dish or dessert. As a dessert, ladab is made with sweet potatoes and ripe plantain, and some people include fruit bread, cassava, or kusuro. It is boiled in coconut milk, nutmeg, sugar, and vanilla. As a dish, you just add salted fish, salt instead of sugar, and no vanilla. You don't have to worry about living in a tent. Seychelles has got you covered with housing. Rent apartments for as low as $67 a night. Hotels are prevalent and offer entertainment packages. Being a fairly new country means there is no ancient Seychelles art, but art from Creole-speaking countries. Artists base their work off of African events as a whole instead of Seychelles' tiny history. Here are some examples. There is a plethora of activities to do during your trip to Seychelles. There is scuba diving, island hopping, fishing, hanging out on the beaches, and hiking trails. Tours are available for all of your different island needs. I hope this little infomercial has persuaded you to give this clump of islands a chance. Thank you for your time.